For a cursed woman, she is not cursed. She belongs to the gods, Emeka. You must honor our ancient traditions.
But times are changing, father.
I will not let you ruin everything.
When they say fear men, they are talking about blind Ada. Not because she loved, but because she believed the promise made by a man. Everyone in this village knows the story of blind Ada. You will see her every morning, sitting outside her door, her back against the cracked mud wall, tears streaming quietly down her face. No one stops anymore. No one asks why. They just walk past, shake their heads, and whisper her name like a warning. Blind Ada. Some say she brought it on herself. Some say she was cursed from birth. But if you sit still long enough, if you're patient enough to listen, you realize that Ada's story is not a story about a curse. It's a story about love, and what love in the wrong hands can cost you. Ada was not always blind. There was a time when those eyes could stop a conversation mid-sentence. Dark, deep, and alive with something that made people uneasy in the most beautiful way. Like she was looking past your face and reading something written on the inside of your chest. She was stunning, yes, but it was never just the looks. It was the way she carried herself, like she had already decided who she was and was simply waiting for the world to catch up. But Ada was not free. She was married to the gods. That was how her people said it, not as a metaphor, not as poetry, but as fact. Before she could walk, before she had any say in anything, she had been dedicated to the shrine, and wrapped around her name, since before she could remember, was a prophecy that everyone in the village knew by heart. If Ada takes a mortal husband, she will lose her sight within 1 year. 1 year. That was the price the gods had named. Most men heard this and found somewhere else to be. Emeka was not most men. He was 26 the first time he saw her at the market. She was laughing loudly, freely, completely unbothered at something her friend had said, and Emeka stood there like a man who had just walked into a wall he hadn't seen coming. He went back to the market the next day, and the day after, until finally, Ada looked up from a stall of fresh tomatoes, caught him staring, and instead of turning away, she raised an eyebrow.
You've been here 3 times this week.
I'm still deciding
On what?
whether I'm brave enough.
They talked. They kept talking. Long walks that neither of them planned to take, conversations that started in the afternoon and found themselves still going at midnight. Emeka made her laugh. Ada made him think. And somewhere in between, something grew that neither of them could explain or contain. He knew about the prophecy. She made sure of that early.
Ada, I've thought about it. I've thought about anything in my life. And I'd rather have 1 year with you than a whole lifetime wandering.
You don't know what you're saying.
I know exactly what I'm saying.
Emeka, if this is real, I need you to understand. I will go blind. It is not a maybe. That is what has been said over my life since before I had a voice.
I'll be your eyes. I promise you. For a cursed woman, she is not cursed. She belongs to the gods, Emeka. A man who loves her. Then you choose her, you leave this house. You belong to the shrine. Turn away before the gods. You must honor our ancient traditions.
But times are changing, father.
I will not let you ruin everything.
I only want to build a better future.
They got married quietly, no celebration. Just the two of them, a few witnesses, and the full weight of everyone's doubt on their shoulders. And the village held its breath, waiting for Ada to go blind. 1 year passed. Ada could still see. People didn't know what to do with that. They talked amongst themselves in lowered voices. Maybe the prophecy was wrong. Maybe the gods were no longer watching. Emeka would hear the whispers sometimes in the market and come home laughing about it. They are confused, he told Ada one evening, grinning. They'll find something else to say, she replied. But she was smiling too. 2 years passed. Life found its rhythm. A small home, a shared routine, Saturday mornings that smelled like frying plantain, and whatever argument they were having about nothing important. You always oversalt everything.
And yet you always finish your plate.
It looked, from the outside, almost ordinary. And ordinary had never felt so much like a miracle. And then, in the third year, Ada got pregnant. She was 4 months along when it started. First, it was the edges. Shapes going soft, colors bleeding into each other at the borders. She told herself it was tiredness. She told herself it was the pregnancy changing her body. But deep in a place she didn't want to visit, she already knew. One night, she reached for Emeka's face in the low light of their room and traced his jaw with her fingers. And when he asked her
Just
what she was doing,
memorizing.
she said, "Just memorizing." He went very still. "Ada, I'm okay," she said. But her voice had something in it. Something quiet and already grieving. By the 6th month, she could no longer
I can't
pretend.
see.
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. We knew this day might come.
He began to describe things to her. The color of the sunset, what her belly looked like growing in the evening light, the neighbor's stubborn goats that kept getting into their garden. He guided her hands. He arranged the house so she could move through it safely, so her hands would always find what she was looking for.
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
He was there. For a while, he was there. But there's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from loving someone through something hard. Not the explosive kind of tired. The kind that settles into a man's eyes when he thinks no one is looking. The kind that builds walls in the spaces where warmth used to live. Ada felt it. She couldn't see his face, but she could hear the change in his voice.
Talk to me. Tell me what's happening inside you.
I'm fine.
You're not.
I'm just tired.
Okay.
9 months. The baby came on a quiet Tuesday, a boy. Healthy, loud, absolutely certain of his own arrival. The nurse placed him in Ada's arms and Ada held him against her chest and wept.
Is he beautiful? He looks like you.
She thought this was the beginning of the next chapter. She thought the hardest part was behind them. She did not know that Emeka had been making plans. He waited. That was the part that people found hardest to understand when they heard the story. He didn't live in anger, not in the heat of a fight, not in some desperate, impulsive moment he would later regret. He waited. He let the baby arrive safely. He made sure Ada was recovering. He carried the child. He did the things a present man does. And then, one morning, while Ada was resting, he dressed his son in the small blue outfit she had bought months ago, back when she could still see, and he picked him up and he
Emeka?
walked to the door.
Where are you going? Emeka? Emeka? Emeka?
She called his name into the silence. Again.
Emeka?
Again. She reached out her hands and felt nothing but air.
Emeka! Emeka!
The neighbors found her outside later that afternoon, sitting on the ground, back against the wall of her house, weeping in a way that had no sound anymore, like she had already cried past the part where sound was possible. They asked if she needed anything. She didn't answer, and she never really went back inside. That is who you see every morning when you walk past blind Ada. Not a woman who was foolish. Not a woman who should have listened to the elders and stayed away from love. Not a cautionary tale about defying tradition. But a woman who loved with her whole self, who gave up safety and family and the gods themselves for one man, who sat in blindness and still held on, and was left anyway. Left not in the moment of crisis, but after it, when the emergency was over and all that remained was the ordinary, quiet, daily work of staying. He couldn't do it, not because Ada was too much, but because he had made a promise in the light and could not keep it in the dark. She sits outside because she cannot bear the silence of the house where her son's cry no longer lives. She cries because she never got to see his face. Not once. She held him and loved him and never saw him. She cries because she already
He looks
knew,
like you.
somewhere deep inside her, that the prophecy was never really about her eyes. It was about the moment she would finally see clearly exactly who she had married. And by then, she would have nothing left to see with.